Over the last 25 years, I've had the privilege of interviewing and highlighting some truly interesting people. I mean, everyone who is anyone, both the famous and the infamous, from presidents and their first ladies to kings and queens, movie stars and pop stars, captains of industry, heads of state, sports personalities, innovative entrepreneurs, and some pretty fascinating everyday people. Today, I am extremely proud to introduce you to Matthew Freeman, a hazmat specialist whose passion for and dedication to law enforcement and security has been the cornerstone of his career. I like to start out these kinds of interviews with a profound thank you for your service, because we absolutely need you all. And my dad, who is a retired law enforcement officer, never lets me forget that we need to have all of you on our side. But seriously, as the president of DOT Training Solutions, what kind of services do you offer your clients?
Well, what we mainly do is we offer our expertise, sorry, to our customers from what our backgrounds are. All my consultants are prior either federal agents or state technicians who were in professions in the field or in the DOT side, and we even brought in industry guys who know the industry, so that we all work together at what I call our round table. So what we do to provide to our customers is we can come in, we do mock audits on companies to make sure they're still being safe, make sure their compliance is good. With those mock audits, we're also looking for risk and gaps, see where we can fix things, how we can move forward. With those other offerings there, once we get to the bottom line of what's going on with the company, by doing the reports and everything else there, we can do training. My background, I was a training instructor for the National Training Center for the US DOT. So what I would do is I train troopers how to stop cargo tanks and how to do the inspections. So I take those experiences to our customers and we help them get them right and show them what direction to go. But to start the whole thing is we come in and do an audit on the company. And that's where we can see where everything is, because some companies might think they're running really well in one area, but then to come to find out they're not. So then we go into a little training and just make them better. A couple of the other things that we do with customers is there's safety ratings when it comes to DOT. You have a satisfactory, conditional, or unsat. So some of these companies who are stuck at a conditional rating because they could never get a SAT, we have our specialists can come in and help them get upgrades. There's a process to go through with the government, and we can gradually work those upgrades to a satisfactory. Because when the customers have satisfactory ratings, people can see their profile online. So someone's not going to hire somebody who has a conditional rating. They want someone who's got a satisfactory rating. So one of our things that we want to do is help those customers go through that process if they're willing and get them up there, because we want to see our customers making money. We want to see them being safe out there. We want to keep this economy going. And safety is a big part of it, because if people are not being safe, trucks are set on the side of the road, or potentially there's an incident that could happen. Mm-hmm. And from my background, we've seen, lots of bad stuff, and I don't ever want to see any of my customers do that. The motto that I tell everybody, along with my team, is we want to be one step ahead and not two steps back.
Makes complete sense, Matt. As a matter of fact, you mentioned your background, and I know there needs to be a real specific background in hazmat, because this is very specialized work. What's that background, and really what drew you to pursue that line of work?
Well, funny you say that. my background, I came from, started in Missouri with the Missouri Department of Transportation as an investigator back in 2004. 2008, I applied as the hazmat specialist for the division, and then I managed the program 2008 to 2012 with the motor carrier division, managing the hazmat program. To kind of move ahead a little bit from 08 to 12, then 12 to 15, I was with the U.S. Department of Transportation with Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, whereas I became a federal agent and then that one of 16 hazmat specialists in the country. So my draw has just kind of always been to hazmat. When I got out of the agency and stuff, I said, nope, I don't think I'm ever going to go back into it. I just want to go do something different. And next thing you know, I drew back to my passion. And so by using my skills, my background, my team, all my entire team and consultants are a part of some type of a technical area,
Mhm.
different areas of hazmat. Now, we also work with the motor carrier industry who aren't just hazmat carriers, but the everyday carriers, the guys, moving our freight back and forth. Um, but so about what we do is about 50% hazmat, the other 50 or so percent on the regular stuff. And then we use our skills to help everybody every day, train them, teach them, hold their hand if we need to. One of the areas we got into on the hazmat side of it is we work with registered inspectors. These guys work in cargo tank facilities where they actually do the inspection and testing on the transport vehicles. So your gasoline transporters, your diesel haulers, your propane haulers that go down the road every day. So we actually use our skills to go in and train these guys to make sure they're keeping these vehicles safe every day on these roads.
Let's get into some specifics here. I see that you've accomplished some truly exceptional feats with the Missouri DOT in particular. Tell me a little about that achievement and how you went about doing it, because these are the kinds of things that impact on people's lives. That's real life is what I'm talking about.
Yes, absolutely. So that kind of draws to the last question, where I got my passion from. I was challenged in 2008 when I became a specialist. Is we had an out of service rate in Missouri for hazmat vehicles at 28%. That's really high. Okay, that means most of the vehicles, the hazmat vehicles being pulled over, are getting shut down on the side of the road. So I was tasked with fixing this problem, and I like a challenge. And I said, let me see what I can do. No promises, but I'll get there. So I took approximately 4,000 roadside inspections and went back 4 or 5 years and put them all together and wanted to see what hazmat vehicles are being stopped. So is it high pressure tanks like your everyday gas hauler, or is it your propane transporters going down the road? Once I was able to get that analysis put together, I found out where the high pressures and the low pressures problems were. Once I found the problems and did my analysis, I was able to go to all the hazmat companies in the state of Missouri by association or physically going there, doing training and working with the drivers and putting everything I had into this program. By 2011, we were able, when the next program came out, it showed the out of service rates. We were down to anywhere from 3 to 5% 3 years later. This is something I'm very proud of. That means that more trucks were running every day than sitting on the side of the road stopped because they had issues. It means our roads were safer, because that means that the drivers were paying more attention to what they're transporting. No matter what the hazmat is, I look at it as a bomb. If it's paint, if it's gasoline, whatever it is, it's still considered a hazardous material. And if something happens with those vehicles, it can cause a lot of lives. And that's something, that I'm very passionate about. And knowing that we brought that down to that lower level, I take that same attitude into every company I go into. Good. Is that if I can work with a whole state, I can work with a company of 2 or 3 people to several thousand. And that's what our company does.
Wonderful, wonderful. But Matt, why don't you take me through a typical day for you? Assuming that's not an oxymoron, of course, that there are no typical days in your business. But what does a typical day look like?
For most part, I'm like anybody else. I start my morning coffee, a morning tea. I check my emails. Usually I'll have a team meeting with some of my consultants, depending who isn't out in the field someplace doing trainings or stuff like that. And then I'll see what customers I got to contact. So we're talking to customers, and again, everybody's similar, but everybody's different. And so I've learned to work with companies all over the world. And so I never know who I'll be talking to day to day. On another aspect of what I do is, on my day to day, I could be out in a training class somewhere, walking in, teaching people, holding their hands and walking and getting in which direction they need to go. Let's make sure they're doing right. Sometimes all it takes is someone who has a question they're afraid to answer, but now they got someone they can ask. So we want to be there for them. Just, if they want to sit, put their head on our shoulder and we listen to them, hey, we're there. It's about safety. It's about seeing you guys are doing the right thing and feeling comfortable about doing it. I've learned on my day-to-day stuff that people don't ask those questions, then they don't get answers. And
speaking of needing the right answers, Matthew, what are some of the common mistakes people actually make with regard to hazardous materials, and how does your training help them to correct those mistakes? Because we really are trying to keep people safe.
Yes. Some of the things that they do is they get complacent. That is a big thing. So one of the things I try to tell drivers that is missed, placarding, markings on the side of the vehicle. There's things that if you're a roadside officer, you're driving on the road and you see something wrong, just real quick look. We try to get these guys to not do that. Make sure they're doing their safety checks. They're walking around the vehicle, making sure everything looks good. Those are some of the typical things that's going wrong. Something that might be leaking that stands out that you can stand behind the truck or trailer and see that it's leaking. To fix that, we go in and we work with the drivers. We do training with them. We teach them how to do their own inspections. Be that roadside guy, you know, be your own enforcement officer, you know, because you want to make sure your vehicle is going down safe. So see anything that stands out. Some of the new things that we brought into the field, what I do is we brought in technology. We are able, I have a partnering company, and they do VR. They do all my online training classes. They do, we do virtual reality. So we put our customers, our inspectors in real life positions to advance where we want to see what's going on in the world, what they can really do. If they're making mistakes, we want to see it here in the virtual reality. So when they get out there in the real world, they're not making these mistakes. So we're able to correct it. That's the changes that we're moving. It's the technology that's coming with it. That the hazmat's always going to be there. And we just got to make sure the guys that we're working with respect it and that we can train them correctly moving forward. And that's how it's changing.
As I look ahead, I know that you've mentioned you want to rebrand your company and have your team take more of a leadership role. Have you taken any steps in that direction? And actually, what's the new business model?
Yes, actually, we have. The folks we have on board right now are going to eventually here very soon be my managers. And I'm going to step back and oversee that. Whereas we are building, as I mentioned, technology. We're going to have a legal department to where we can work with our customers on those upgrades I was telling you about. You know, so if they have questions on how to do the work with the law, we have someone here that's going to be able to help them. We're dividing up our company where we're going to have an audit team. So our auditors or our consultants will be able just to go out and do audits, mock audits in companies to see how they're doing. And the other side will have a separate training team that we can send out. That's what we're building. The virtual reality world is really, we're one of few companies in the country that I even know of who's doing it like we are. So we're proud of that. But your best program is hands-on working physically with those guys. That you can never get away from that. But we use alternative methods. That's what we are rebranding because we're growing. We're steadily growing. We love it. We're having fun, and I wake up every morning with a smile on my face, loving what I do. So it made sense to rebrand. Our company is DOT Training Solutions, and we do more than just training. We do so much more, and we want to parent that with something and then expand it and just see what we can do.
That is so wonderful to hear. I certainly wish you the very best with the expansion. But I do want to ask, what's the one thing you want the viewer of this video feature to walk away with today?
I want our viewers to know that, hey, we're here for you. We have experts that can help you. We want to see you be safe out there. We want to see you continue to move down our roads. We want to see you make money by fixing those risks and gaps and keeping our economy going, keeping folks working, and being safe. That's the number one. Be safe. If we see that you're moving down the road, we know we've done our job. If you're getting less bad inspections on the side of the road, we've done our job. And that's what we're here for. Our guys come from roadside themselves. So they know what if you're going to get stopped, they're going to tell you, hey, better fix that, and that's what we're here for. We want our customers to know that we're there for you. Don't be afraid to ask us questions. We take our job seriously. We have fun. When I say that, it's a passion. If you can't have fun doing what you do every day, why do you do it?
100%. We must learn to work to live rather than to live to work.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we are in a new phase of growth with this new normal, where we want people to be as safe as possible, and we have to depend on our neighbors and the experts amongst our neighbors to help us all do that. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the
Sarah.
conversation.
Thank you very much.